Surprisingly, over 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button. It motivates us to keep creating and helps us never miss an upload. And you'll never miss a story again. You ever have one of those weeks where the world seems determined to break you, and just when you think you've survived it, life twists the knife a little deeper? That was me, Chris Reynolds, 35, successful, driven, and flat out exhausted. I had just closed one of the most high pressure deals of my life. Manhattan boardrooms, suit and tie games, late nights combing through contracts and power plays that left you empty. But I'd done it. I'd won. Our firm secured the merger, millions on the line, and I walked out with the respect of people who usually don't give it out lightly. I should have been celebrating. I should have been on a rooftop somewhere, drink in hand, watching the city lights blink like they were congratulating me. But all I wanted was home, just a quiet flight back to Jersey and a night of peace. And Trish. She was supposed to be back tomorrow from her girls' trip, a weekend at some casino with her sisters. I wasn't expecting a warm welcome, but knowing she was out there laughing, enjoying herself, made me feel like the world was finally balanced. She deserved that kind of break. We both did. So I land at Newark, toss my overnight bag in the back seat, and I'm driving through the foggy stretch of Route 9 when I decide to stop. There's this local bar on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just wood-paneled walls, neon signs, and old-school music humming low. It's the kind of place where no one asks what you do for a living. You drink, you sit, and you breathe. I push open the door and walk in, tugging off my jacket. It's warm inside, familiar, like a memory you didn't know you missed. I spot a corner booth, but before I can even make it halfway across the room, I freeze. There, not 10 feet away, laughing, clinking glasses, smiling like they had no secrets, are Trish's sisters, both of them, and their husbands. I blink, thinking maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a trick of the light. Or maybe I'm so tired I'm seeing ghosts. But no, it's them. Tammy's wearing the same leather jacket I saw on Instagram this morning, and Jamie, she's got that rose gold necklace she only wears on nights out. My heart starts to thump. Not in panic, not yet, but in confusion. I pull out my phone, double-check Trish's message. Love you, babe. We're hitting the casino floor tonight. Might not have service, talk tomorrow. Sent this morning. And there they are. The whole casino crew, minus the one person who said she was going. I slide onto a stool, hands suddenly ice cold. The bartender walks over, asks what I want. I say, water. Because the truth is, I don't trust my judgment right now. My eyes stay on them, laughing, toasting, not a care in the world. She lied. The realization isn't a hammer, it's a whisper. It creeps in, wraps around my spine. She lied about where she was, who she was with. The question was, why? I wait a few minutes, then walk back outside. I sit in my car, the engine off, hands gripping the wheel. My breath fogs up the windshield. I stare at the GPS app on my phone. Trish and I share locations. It was her idea. Makes me feel safe, she said. I never questioned it. I open the tracker. She's not at a casino. She's not even in the same county. She's at a beach cottage 2 hours away, an old rental spot out by the shore, and she's been there since Friday night. My stomach knots. That place, I recognize the address. Not because I've been, but because she once told me about it. It's where she used to meet up with Nick. Nick, her ex-fling, the guy who nearly wrecked our relationship 2 years ago. She swore it was over. Swore it was nothing serious. Swore it was a moment of weakness. I believed her. I forgave her. I thought we moved on. My hands are shaking now. I should have driven home. I should have let it go until morning. But something inside me snapped, quietly without drama. A thread came undone. I tapped Nick's name on Facebook. Married. Still. His wife Sue runs a photography business in town. We'd met once at a community fundraiser. Nice woman, quiet but sharp. Smart. She didn't seem like the type to let things slide. I hesitate. This is madness. But I message her anyway. Hi, Sue. This might sound strange, but I think your husband and my fiance are at the shore house together. I can show you proof. She responds in under a minute. Address? I send it. She replies, I'll call you. 5 minutes. My phone rings and I answer. Her voice is calm. Too calm. Like she's been expecting this moment. She tells me she's known something was off. She saw messages, vague plans, and Nick suddenly guarding his phone like it was a bank vault. She'd had her suspicions, but no confirmation. Until now. We talk, we share timelines, stories, inconsistencies. It all lines up. Then she says something that chills me. They always go there. He thinks I don't know, but I do. I grip the steering wheel again. She asks, do you want to confront them together? I say yes, without thinking. She says, she'll drive. She's closer to the cottage. I agree to meet her there. But first, I go back inside the bar, not for a drink, for closure. I walk up to Trisha's sisters. They don't see me until I'm right in front of their table. The laughter dies. Jamie's eyes go wide. Chris, she says, blinking like she's seeing a ghost. I smile. It's not real, but it's enough. Hey, how's the casino? They freeze. No one speaks. Tammy opens her mouth, then closes it. Jamie says, it's not what you think. But I hold up a hand. I know where she is. I know who she's with. Silence. A heavy, dragging silence. Tammy whispers, Chris, please. I shake my head. You covered for her. Both of you. And she's lying to my face. I turn and walk away before they can respond. Outside, the air bites. My chest is tight, but my steps feel steady. I drive toward the shore. My mind races through memories. Her laugh, the way she looked at me last month when I told her about the promotion, the promises, the future we planned, all of it now dangling by threads. As the miles pass, I try to prepare myself. But the truth is, I don't know what I'll find at that cottage. Only that I'm done pretending. And I won't walk away without answers. The drive to the beach cottage was long enough to second-guess everything, but short enough to keep the pain fresh. 2 hours. 2 hours of silence, broken only by the occasional notification on my phone and the distant hum of my tires on the highway. I kept glancing at the blue dot on the GPS screen. Trisha's location hadn't changed. Still at the cottage. Still with him. I tried to imagine what they were doing. But every time I went down that road in my head, I had to pull myself back. I couldn't afford to fall apart before the confrontation. Not now. Sue texted me as I turned off the main road toward the coast. I'm 5 minutes out. Wait for me before you go up? I replied with a thumbs up emoji, the most neutral response I could manage. My hands were cold again. My throat felt tight, like I hadn't spoken in days. I parked a little down the road, far enough that the cottage wouldn't spot my headlights. The ocean air hit me as soon as I stepped out. Sharp, salty, unforgiving. I leaned against my car and closed my eyes for a second. I remembered proposing to Trish. We were in the mountains, snow all around, bundled up in layers and laughing like kids. I dropped to one knee, and her hand flew to her mouth. She cried. She said yes. I remember thinking, this is it. This is my person. That was just a year ago. A set of headlights pulled in behind me. Sue stepped out. She wore jeans, a dark jacket, her hair pulled back. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days, but was running on something stronger than rest, resolve. We didn't hug, we didn't smile. We just stood there, looking at each other. Two strangers bound by betrayal. You sure you're ready for this? She asked quietly. I nodded. Are you? She hesitated. I have to be. Together, we walked up the path toward the cottage. The place looked peaceful. Warm light inside, waves crashing in the background. It looked like the kind of place where good things were supposed to happen. Honeymoons, vacations, quiet mornings with coffee. Not this. We could hear music playing faintly from the windows. The blinds were drawn, but a flicker of movement passed behind them. Sue pulled out her phone and started recording, just in case we needed proof. I didn't blame her. We were walking into something we couldn't undo. "Let me knock," she said. I stepped back. She knocked 3 times, firm, steady. Nothing. Then footsteps. A shadow moved across the window. The door opened. Nick stood there, shirtless, holding a beer. He blinked at her. His jaw slackened. "Sue?" He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Then he saw me. "Chris?" He backed up slightly, confused, caught between panic and guilt. Sue didn't say a word. She just walked inside. I followed. The living room smelled like sea breeze and wine. A half-eaten pizza on the coffee table. A blanket tossed over the couch. And Trish appeared in the hallway in one of those oversized sweaters she never wore outside the house. Her hair was damp, barefoot. She froze when she saw me. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. "Chris, how did you?" Her voice cracked. I looked at her and didn't recognize the person standing there. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, but emotionally. Like all the lies had collapsed in on her. "I stopped by the bar," I said quietly. "Saw your sisters." She winced. "I tracked your phone. You didn't even turn it off. I can explain." "No," I said, my voice firmer. "You can't. You had every chance to tell me, and you chose this." Nick tried to interject. "Hey man, this isn't what you think." "Don't!" Sue cut him off, her voice shaking. "Don't insult us with that." Trish moved forward slightly. "Chris, please. It's not what it looks like. We were just what?" I asked. "Catching up? Laughing about the time you nearly blew up our relationship the first time?" Her eyes filled with tears. I hated how much it still hurt to see her cry, but I didn't look away. "I thought you changed," I continued. "I thought you wanted this life. With me." "I did," she whispered. "Then why lie?" I asked. "Why drag your sisters into it? Why pretend to be somewhere you're not, with someone you're not?" She didn't answer. She just looked down. Sue turned to Nick. "I should have left you last year," she said, her voice quieter now. "I gave you grace. I gave you a second chance. And this is what you do with it." Nick tried to reach for her arm, but she stepped back. "I'm not angry," she said. "I'm just done." The word echoed in the room. Done. It felt final. Real. I turned to Trish. "How long has this been going on?" She swallowed. "A few weeks." I shook my head slowly. "I fought for us. You know that? After last time, I took the blame. I told myself maybe I hadn't been present enough. Maybe I'd been too focused on work. But I never lied to you. I never disrespected you like this." "I know," she said, wiping her cheek. "And I don't deserve you." "No," I said, "and you don't." It was like the air got thinner. The walls closed in. The silence between us wasn't peaceful. It was sharp, jagged. Sue looked at me and nodded. We didn't need to say anything else. We left them there, standing in the wreckage of their own decisions. Outside, the night had gotten colder. The stars were faint behind the clouds. The wind picked up off the water and whipped through the trees. We stood by our cars for a moment. "I don't know what I'm going to do next," Sue said, rubbing her arms. "Same," I said. "But I know I'm not going back." "Me neither." She offered a small smile, the kind that doesn't reach your eyes but means something anyway. "For what it's worth," she said, "I think you deserved better." I nodded. So did you. She got in her car and drove off. I sat behind the wheel for a while, staring at the cottage. The lights inside were still on. I didn't care anymore. Eventually, I drove back to my apartment. Not the one I shared with Trish. That was hers now. I went to the place I rented before we got serious. Still kept the key. I guess a part of me always held a little space, just in case. I sat on the edge of the bed, shoes still on, elbows on my knees. My phone buzzed. A message from Trish. "I'm sorry, I wish I could take it back." I didn't reply. I couldn't, because I wasn't that man anymore. The days that followed were strange. Not quiet, not loud, just strange. Everything in my life looked the same on the outside. My work email still buzzed. My assistant still scheduled meetings. Clients still expected answers. But inside, something had shifted. A part of me I didn't even know I depended on had collapsed, and now I had to learn how to walk without it. The apartment was cold, not physically, but emotionally. Empty closets, a silent kitchen. The toothbrush next to mine was gone. Her little plant by the windowsill had vanished. I'd never cared about it before, but now its absence stared at me like a quiet accusation. People always talk about heartbreak, like it's loud and dramatic, like throwing plates or yelling in the rain. But for me, it was quiet. The kind of silence that hums in your ears when the world keeps moving and you're stuck standing still. Sue and I stayed in touch, surprisingly. Not out of revenge, not out of spite, just understanding. We texted once or twice a day. No deep confessions, just hope you're okay or bad dreams again, that kind of thing. And sometimes that was enough. About a week after the confrontation at the cottage, I ran into a friend, Mark, from college. We hadn't seen each other in years, and he didn't know about any of it. We grabbed lunch, and when he asked how Trish was, I just stared at my plate for a second. She's not in the picture anymore, I said. He blinked, surprised. Man, I thought you two were solid. So did I. He nodded slowly, then didn't press. And I appreciated that more than he'll ever know. That night, I sat on my couch and pulled up an old photo album on my phone. Trish and I in New Orleans, her laughing at something dumb I said. Me, half sunburned, holding a coffee the size of my head. We looked happy. Real. I didn't delete the pictures. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I don't know. Erasing her from my digital memory didn't feel like healing. It felt like denial. I wasn't angry anymore, not like I was at first. The rage had cooled into something quieter. Acceptance, maybe, or exhaustion, or both. But the thing that hurt the most was realizing that she didn't fight for me. Not really, not when it counted. She sent another message 2 days after the first. Said she made a mistake, that she was confused, that Nick meant nothing. But if he meant nothing, why lie? Why risk everything? I didn't respond. Some things don't deserve a reply. Instead, I started showing up for myself again. I hit the gym, took a few solo hikes, even signed up for one of those weekend photography classes downtown that I always said I was too busy for. At first, it felt like I was going through the motions, but eventually I started looking forward to them. And then, one afternoon, Sue called me. Hey, she said, her voice a little shaky. I did something, and I thought you should know. Okay, I told my family. About Nick, about the whole thing. There was a pause. And? They weren't surprised. Apparently, he's always had a history of poor boundaries. I sighed. I'm sorry. I'm not, she said. I think I needed to say it out loud. To stop protecting someone who didn't protect me. I understood that feeling too well. You still staying at your sister's place? I asked. Actually, she hesitated. I'm moving into a studio this week. Just me. First time I've lived alone in over 10 years. That's a big step. Terrifying, she laughed softly, but also kind of exciting. There was a long silence between us. Comfortable. Then she said, want to grab coffee sometime? No pressure, just a decent conversation with someone who gets it. I thought about it. Yeah, I said, I'd like that. We met at a cafe downtown the next weekend. It was a small, cozy place with chalkboard menus and a guitar player tucked into the corner. She was already there when I arrived, sitting near the window, stirring a cup of tea. When she saw me, she smiled. Not a wide grin, just a soft, tired smile. The kind people wear after surviving something. We talked for 2 hours. About everything and nothing. Childhood stories, awkward first jobs. The strange way betrayal makes you question your own reflection. And we didn't mention Trish or Nick until the very end. I think I ignored the signs, Sue said quietly. I just didn't want to start over. Again. I nodded. Starting over is scary, but staying in something broken feels worse. She looked at me. You really loved her, didn't you? I did, I said. But I think I loved the idea of her more than the reality. It felt good to say it out loud. In the weeks that followed, Sue and I kept in touch more. Sometimes we met up for coffee, once a hike. Nothing romantic. Just two people trying to piece themselves back together. No expectations, no pressure. One afternoon, I ran into Trish at a grocery store, completely by accident. She was in the produce section, picking through apples. She looked up and froze when she saw me. "Chris," I gave her a polite nod. Nothing more. She stepped closer. "I didn't expect to see you here." "It's a grocery store," I said, managing a small smile. "Kind of hard to avoid." She laughed nervously. "You look good." "Thanks, you too." There was a pause, a weight in the air. "I miss you," she said, her voice soft. I looked at her, really looked. And for a second, I remembered everything good. The way she used to hum when she cooked. The way she'd fall asleep mid-sentence on the couch. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about her students. But those memories were just that. Memories. "I hope you find peace, Trish," I said. "But I'm not your home anymore." She nodded. Her eyes welled up. "I know." And just like that, it was over. Not with a scream or a slammed door, but a quiet goodbye in the fruit aisle. I walked away feeling lighter than I had in months. Later that night, I met up with Sue. We got ice cream and sat on a bench near the river, watching the city lights ripple across the water. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "I think I actually am." She smiled. "Me too." And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. I still had rough days, still caught myself wondering how things might have been. But I stopped carrying it like a wound, started carrying it like a lesson. Not everyone you love will stay. Not everyone who stays deserves your love, but you keep going, you rebuild, you grow. And one day, without even realizing it, you laugh again. You feel the sun again, you trust again. And maybe, just maybe, you find someone who's been walking the same path. Not to replace what was lost, but to remind you that healing is possible and that you are not alone.